Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nations Radio Network, and you are watching Star Nations Communications from Home. This is a Facebook Live stream show, and it's a Tuesday night. It's January 16th, and we have a new moon tonight. So an auspicious start, I think, to January under a new moon. So welcome, everybody. I appreciate you being with me tonight. And I'm grabbing my phone because what I'm going to do is I'm going to like and share the broadcast so that other people know that we're out here. And if you wouldn't mind doing that for me, I really would appreciate it. It helps others to find us much easier. You know, Facebook and everybody's talking about algorithms these days. And so that's one of the things that helps a great deal is to like and to share. And I'd appreciate it. And so I'm going to do that right now. I'm actually sharing it to the Star Nations radio group, and so it's going to take me just a minute because it takes there it is, trying to get the right button pushed here. So I'm just going to let everybody know that I'm live streaming. Right now. How about join me? There we go. Good. And now I'm just going to like the broadcast. There. That was quick. Hi, everybody. I hope you're all having a good evening. It's still cold here in Wisconsin, northwestern Wisconsin. It's January in Wisconsin. We can't expect anything different, that's for sure. Hi, Connie. Connie is liking and sharing. Thank you so much, Connie. I appreciate that. And Mary, let's see, we're going to show Connie here. Connie is one of our elders here at Star Nations. It's good to see you in the house, Connie. And we have Sharon Rosenblum. Hi, Sharon. She's one of my sisters. And we have Mary. Hi, Mary. Thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. As we wait for more people to file into the live chat, I was just going to let you know that we've got some changes here at Star Nations, and we're going to get into a little of the details for you. And we're just going to give them just another second or two, and then we'll get started. We kind of busy around here today. Tuesdays are always busy time at Star Nations. We have shows on Tuesdays, and actually we had shows on Monday this week, Tuesday tonight. We'll have shows on Thursday and Thursday morning and Thursday night. So it's a busy week. That third weekend of the month are busy times. So, well, let's get started. Because I don't want to keep you too long tonight. I'm hoping to get through everything in a half hour, maybe a little bit more than that. So there's some people have already noticed some of the changes that's occurring at Star Nations, and I just wanted to make the official announcement tonight. And I also have already made the announcement to our radio show hosts and also to our contributing writers. They've known for a while the big change that has occurred. And that big change is that we're bidding farewell to Denise Iwana Francisco. She has decided that she is going to heed the call back to Temple Within. And so she is already there and in that direction. I waited until tonight, Tuesday, January 16th, to make this announcement because when she had told me about her decision, that she had told me that her last day with us was going to be on the new moon, and that's tonight, the new moon. So I thought, well, let's just wait. Everybody will be patient and, divine timing kind of stuff, right? So she says that she's answering the call to return to her roots back to Temple Within. So we wish her well. and all the success and every happiness. Dana and I, we're sisters, literally. We did a ceremony, and so we'll always have a connection. And but it does change the energy here at Star Nations, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about that. So congratulations to Dana, heading back to Temple Within, and we're wishing her well. But even with that major change, there's some things that are still the same here at Star Nations. We continue with our intentions and our commitment in providing a stable and compassionate platform for our hosts and show hosts, and also our contributing writers, to have a place for their voice to be heard, right? Their message to be heard. And they're all teachers, spiritual teachers. And so Star Nation still provides that for them. And so we're still dedicated. We're still dedicated to the world as one. We have that framework of unity. But the thing is that, as you know, that we're very eclectic here. We cover a very wide gamut of beliefs, right? And because we believe that everyone is here, we're all related, we're interconnected. Everything that we do, everything we think and feel affects everyone else and everything else in creation. And so we still have that. That's still a consistent factor here at Star Nations. And so, it does my heart good. When we first started this, one of my personal intentions was that the writers and the show hosts, that they have a safe place to be able to use their voices, and whether it's in writing or whether it's on their shows, to be able to deliver their message on a stable platform. And the platform we're stabilizing once again. It takes a little while for that to happen once a major change has occurred. And so we've been very busy, very, very busy, getting updates and rewriting texts and, doing all of that. Do you realize, I never realized this, how many passwords I've got for stuff? It's like, oh my God, that took me just a half a day in itself, trying to figure out all those places that I needed to change. Who knew, right? Right. So one of the things that happens, I think, whenever you have change, and I know that change can be uncomfortable for many people, and so I'm trying to make that change as graceful as possible. And one of the things that came to me the other day was something my Misho said all the time. Misho means grandfather in Potawatomi. One of the things he always used to say, especially when there was major change that occurred, and that was to turn the page, take a breath and turn the page, and to start a new page. And, and with this change, it's not just a new page. I'm just going to be honest. It's going to be a volume 2. It's the next book for Star Nations. And so we're starting a whole new book, not just a new chapter, but a whole new book. And so we're going to turn that page. And there's another saying that is very appropriate, is that when one door closes, another opens, right? And this is all good, it's good. Everything happens in divine timing. And when we relax into it, we can find the grace within it. And so I did. I found the grace. And I have a great support system supporting me. Number one is Paul. He's the chief editor on the magazine. He can spot a misspelled word at 20 paces. That's what his joke is. And so anyway, he helps a lot with things within Star Nations, always has. And he's been my main support. And then, of course, my friends, my sisters have been a really good support. And my mom, she's been there too. So one of the win-wins that occurs here, actually, it didn't occur to me until yesterday. because we have an LLC, there's certain legal stuff that we have to get done. Not that anybody, really enjoys that kind of work, that's for sure, unless you're an attorney. And so, it's one of the things. It's about the practicality of it. And after I got finished with that piece, I was sitting there having a cup of tea, and I was mulling things over and looking at my list of things that still have to be done. And I realized something, and it really kind of made me, happy and excited, is that once the updated and finalized LLC is done, that I am going to apply for the state recognition as a Native American-owned business and a woman-owned business. And because I have this little card, my enrollment card, that I am a tribal member of the Potawatomi Nation. And, it's one of those gifts that I received by selecting the parents that I selected when I came into this world, and that I came in as a female. So it's one of those gifts that I honestly didn't even look at until yesterday, until the light bulb kind of thing went on, and I thought, oh, okay, we're going to check into this, and we're going to start making that application. I don't know how extensive it is. I'm sure I'm going to have to prove a heck of a lot of stuff, but that's all right, because I'm picking up that gift and I'm going to use it to the full extent that I can. And so, hey, Sonia's with us. Thank you for joining us, Sonia. Yeah, glad you're here with us. So that is one of the win-wins, I think. One of those gifts that I didn't realize until yesterday, which is, because it's been so busy that sometimes you really have to slow down when these things, large changes happen, and they happen to everybody. And once you kind of get past the initial phase of it, is to be able to sit down and kind of reflect. And, and some of it is left brain work, starting a list. But there's also the creative side, the right brain side. And that creative side needs some time, some space to be able to be relaxed and to start that dreaming, right? To dream the dream. And so that is kind of where I'm at right now, starting to dream the dream, because I've got most of, I don't say all, but most of the left brain stuff in process. A few things have finished. Okay. So what I wanted to do was to let you know some of the changes that are coming up. Some of them are close in time and others are not. Some of them are going to take a little bit longer to get to. But I thought I would share those with you. So you kind of know where we're at and where we're going to be going. Not a whole lot of changes. There's a lot of tweaking, and there's a few things that have changed, but those aren't like huge major changes. Okay. So let's start with the Academy. The Academy will only have one location, and that is in Tomah, Wisconsin. Doesn't mean that we won't do classes elsewhere, physical classes elsewhere. That may happen. We may end up in Illinois and Michigan and, somewhere around the Great Lakes anyway. Maybe even further. Don't know. Maybe. And so that's the physical location and the physical classes, right? We plan on offering online classes, mainly through Facebook and also through the Academy closed group. And those kind of classes, the teachers for those will come from our hosts and from our contributing writers. Okay. And so it's people you already know. And, those kind of classes aren't going to be, like 4-hour classes. Those are going to be like mini classes that are going to happen on Facebook at the Academy page, our group, the closed group. So those are online classes. So, like I said, it's not huge changes. I haven't taught here because I've been very busy with Mom. And that was one of the things I had to do, is sit down and talk with her about this. And some of the changes that have to occur here in order for me to be able to be immersed into the academy. And that's where my support system comes in. And all those who I've talked to and they've offered their support, I am so thankful. And you know who you are. You know who you are. And from my heart, I thank you so much, because the academy piece is probably the most challenging piece. And so once we have the caregiving, the caretaking shored up around Mom, I can actually start delving more into the academy. All right. And so expect classes to start probably, and I'm saying probably because we all, I want them to happen like tomorrow, but it takes time. It takes time. And so I'm saying late spring, early summer, we'll have some classes available, and we'll get those announced on the Facebook pages and at the website and those kinds of things. Speaking of the website, there's some changes there. If you go out there, you'll see some of the changes already done. Thanks to our webmaster through Elf Elm. I appreciate that. Dan took some extra time, made some room up front of his calendar to put some of these changes into effect a lot sooner than I thought. So I appreciate that. I'm going to talk a little bit about the radio, because that's probably where you see the most changes here for the Facebook Live shows, right? All right, so the most immediate changes are that any of the shows that Dana was a part of course, are no longer available here, right? And so the show is A Walk a Good Life is no longer here. That was with Del Marie. Walking with Spirit is no longer. Walking the Red Road of Life. The Sandra Herrick Show. Balancing Heaven and Earth. On the Road to Heaven, and The Mystic's Heart. I don't know about name changes and that sort of thing. You'll have to check that out at Dana's Facebook or website, and I'm sure you'll be able to find those. So those shows are no longer available, won't be on Star Nations. But I can tell you what shows still remain. What still remains on the third Monday is the Paul Krause Show and the Tarot Journey. The third Thursday is still Spirit of Color. Okay. And we're going to go back to the top of the list of the month, and that is every Tuesday morning. Every Tuesday morning, Chakra Sessions with Polly Jo LeBay is still here, and actually it's an hour later than she was previously streaming. So her show starts at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, so 11 a.m. Central Time. That's on Tuesday mornings. Every Tuesday at 12 p.m. is Polly Jo LeBay's show, Chakra Sessions. And on the second Tuesday is still From Star to Stone, 9 a.m. Eastern. And every Tuesday night is this show, Star Nations Communications from Home, which is at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Let's see. And we also have the Mystery School, and that is the second Thursday of every month at 8 p.m. Eastern at 7 p.m. Central. Discovering Infinite Grace every Thursday morning with Meg Anetto. Meg Anetto, she is on at 8 a.m. Eastern. I'm sorry, that's 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern. That's 8 a.m. Central and 9 a.m. Eastern, Discovering Infinite Grace. And the Mystery School, or Carl and Ortrun Franklin, I want to thank them. They're also one of our elders here at Star Nations, and I appreciate that they're continuing their show with us, because you know what? They have some great information, and I'm so glad that they're still here. And also one of our other elders is Connie Vaughter, and her show, Spiritual Mysteries of Life, is the last Tuesday of every month at 9:30 Eastern time. 9:30 Eastern. So those are the shows that are still here, and we'll have those. Those are already all listed on the website, and so you'll be able to find those there, the listing of them. And what I'm going to do probably is take the calendar that I'm reading off from, and I'll upload it as a document on the radio show network closed group. That way you guys have the list of what shows are when. Okay. I think that would be helpful. What else is happening with the radio, the network? Now this next one is coming down the road, but it's going to be a ways. It's something that we've been thinking about for quite some time, probably since September. And that is to change the name, because it's Star Nations Radio Network when we're actually Facebook live stream shows. So that name is going to get tweaked a little bit, and but we probably aren't going to do that until maybe early summer, midsummer, something like that, because there's some things that I have to do with all that branding kind of stuff, and we have to plan that out. And so anyway, look for that change midsummer. Let's see, the radio closed Facebook group, there's no real change there. It's still the same, except that you'll be receiving all the live stream shows, promotions, and updates. It's going to feel like, and it probably already feels like that way now, is that there's a lot, being posted there. And we don't want to inundate you, but we also want to make sure that you have the information. Okay. And we'll be adding some new shows along the way. In fact, there is an upcoming new show in July, and that is about women and shamanism. And so when that gets closer, we'll get those promotions out to you, and so you'll be able to see those. Yeah. And I think the biggest changes, hey, Polly Joe, got to look in the chat room. Hey, Polly Joe, good to see you in the chat room. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And Sharon says, so happy to hear the classes will be taking place in Toma. Thank you, Sharon. I appreciate that. I really do. It's going to take a little bit for it to occur, but it's going to happen. And Minnie says, hey, classes, Star Nations West. And actually, you know what? We don't even have to use the West part. It's just Star Nations Academy, which makes things a little bit easier when we're doing the promotions, right? Yeah, just a little bit. I think the largest change that some of you probably already noticed is around the Star Nations advisors. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be meeting with the people who were advisors, and we're going to sit down and have probably a Be Live meeting on our secret group, and talk about what they would like to see the advisors be like, and kind of reformat that a bit. It's going to take a little bit for the regrouping of that. So look for the advisors probably closer to maybe early fall, late summer is what I'm guessing. From a planning standpoint, we have so many things happening of those long range changes that I need to look at the calendar and kind of schedule those in, because we also have a magazine that we're still doing. And the special issue comes out in October. And so that takes a little time for that to happen. It's kind of like juggling a bit, because usually we're working with two issues at the same time for about 3 months. And so it takes a little finessing of it. And so we're gonna leave the advisors to a little bit later in the summer, early fall. See how that happens. Speaking of the magazine, We have some things that are going to look a little bit different with the magazine. One of the things that we try to do every year is to freshen up the layout. And when I met with Elf Elm Publishing, who does our layout, they're our specialists for the layout, I asked them to come up with a couple of designs that will actually be more than just freshening it up. You may see some changes in headers and how pictures are handled and that kind of thing. But we're still in the planning stages of that. Okay, so those changes you probably won't notice until maybe March, the March issue. Could be even the April issue. Depends on how fast we can get things done. And here's one that I've been kicking around for a while, and I thought, well, what the heck? If we're if we're going to be doing some of these changes, let's throw this one in too. I'm not sure how this is going to happen exactly, because I'm going to need some help with this one, which means I'm going to have to hire an assistant of some sort. And that is to create a subscription for the print-on-demand issues of the magazine. Yeah. Our partners at MagCloud does offer bulk orders, right? And they don't have a subscription for any of the magazines. And so what you do is you order the bulk and you handle the subscriptions on your own. MagCloud doesn't do that. You would have to do that on your own. And so it is the mailing of them and keeping up the mailing list and handling the subscriptions and when they run out and the renewal, and you know how that goes with print magazines. So in order for us to be able to do that and to do it well and consistent, I'm going to need some help with that. So I'm hoping, cross my fingers, I'm hoping before the end of the year. That's probably the biggest change, which is really not a change, but an addition, right? So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping for that. And let's see, I got it. All right. So, hey, Meg's in the house. Great ideas for Star Nation's Academy redo. Thank you. And she also says, wow, so much going on behind the scenes. I know. I know. And it's all good stuff, but things that has to occur, and it just takes a little time is all. Yeah. And Polly Joe is saying yay, because Polly Joe wants to have those subscriptions for the magazine. So I'm working on it. And Minnie likes it too, print subscriptions. It's going to get done. We just need to do a lot more planning with that one for it to happen. We also have some new writers. We have some new writers who are coming on. One is already started, and that is Sharon Rosenblum. She is writing Nourishing Body and Soul. And she started in January. And so in this issue, the January issue, she's got a great recipe in there for gluten-free blueberry scones. Now, I haven't tried the recipe yet. I've been a little busy with other stuff. So anybody who has tried that recipe, please let us know, okay? And yeah, because it sounds really good. And there's so many of us who have problems with gluten, right? And so she's going to be giving us some really good recipes. And I've actually asked her if she could do an article or even come on the show with me and talk about how we substitute gluten-free kind of flour for other flour and that sort of thing. So we're gonna tap Sharon. And Mega said, wow, subscriptions, great idea. It's an idea that I had for a while. It's just being able to get it done and get the assistance with it. Yep. Sharon, there's lots going on. Okay, so there's another writer who's starting in February. And some of you may recognize the name because he used to be part of Star Nation's way back when we first started. Eddie Mullins is coming back to Star Nations. And I'd forgotten how much fun he is just to talk to, because we've had a few phone calls and emails and that sort of thing to get things worked out. And so his first article will be in the February issue. Now, Eddie is not up to doing shows yet. He hasn't said no. So it's kind of sitting there on the side. And so whenever he feels that it's time for him to start a new show, we'll be there to support him whenever that is. Doesn't matter when it is. As long as when he's ready, we'll be ready. And then in March, our third new writer is going to start. And a lot of people know her, especially over in Michigan. Patricia Heredia. I mispronounced her name. Sorry, Patty. Heredia. And her column is the Therapy Corner. And I forgot to tell you, the name of his column is Wisdom Keeper's Path. That is Eddie's name of his column, will be the Wisdom Keeper's Path. And Patty's column is the Therapy Corner. And so, she's going to be writing about health and under the health and healing section. And so expect some good stuff coming from Patty Herdia starting in March. And she'll be writing every other month. Eddie is every month, and so is Sharon. Yay. All right. I think I covered what I was going to cover. Got to check the time. And it's 7:30. Look at that. Let's see. Oh, we got some more comments here. Let me see. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And Meg is saying, awesome, Sharon. I just had to go gluten-free. A lot of us have. And so it's nice to be able to have somebody in our contributing writers team, our family there to be able to help us with that. That's great. And Minnie is saying, Eddie Mullins, love his writing. And we do. He had some great stuff early on, and he's gone through a transformation too. And I'm going to have him on to interview him hopefully yet this month. We'll have to see. And Sharon says, Eddie is great, and he is so wise and full of information. Isn't he, though? He's got some good stuff. And she also says that, Meg, look for more gluten-free recipes and how to adjust those menus for gluten-free eating. Okay. See, that's the kind of stuff I get excited about. I really do. Because it provides not just a service to our community, but it provides a loving, supportive service to our family here at Star Nations. And isn't that what we're all about, right? Is to take our gifts, our experiences, the wisdom that we've gained from our life, and bringing it to our community. And so that's what we're doing. You know what they call that? They call that walking the red road. And in the way that I learned, it was the good red road is what they call it in the Potawatomi country. And so what I'd like to do is show you a couple of things. And I promise I won't keep you too long. I am going to show you some things that's in the January issue of the magazine. I normally do a really big splashy kind of thing about the magazine each month when it comes out. And I've just been so busy that I didn't do that with the January issue. So here is the cover of it. That is a mature bald eagle and an immature bald eagle, also known as a spotted eagle. That's the one that's in flight. And I know, I have to say this. We're going to put that side by side. Sharon, I'm going to tell the story. And, it's the one of those behind the backstory kind of thing. When I was looking at the raw material for the cover, I found the image, and the writers send me their titles for their articles. Like 10 days before, really, about 10 days before the issue comes out, or actually more like 14 days, 12 days. And so I was looking at the titles and selecting titles, and I try to put brand new writers, their first article title on the cover. So we highlight them, right? So Sharon's very first article with Star Nations as a monthly contributing writer is in January. And the title of her article is Brunch Anyone, ? And I had it on the list. And when the layout specialist laid out a couple of different ways the cover could look, I looked at that and I started laughing out loud all by myself here. Mom didn't hear me. I think Paul might have been sleeping. And I laughed so hard, I had tears, my stomach hurt. One of those laughs. Why? Is because just above the bald eagle, the mature one, was that title. And see what this picture, how they shot this picture, the photographer did, is because the eagles are eating something. And it just looked really funny. Brunch Anyone. I don't know if there's a lot of vegetarian people or vegan people would have appreciated that. And so I had to take that title off the cover. Although you will see Sharon's article title on the February issue. But I had to share that because that's the backstory. And I found it quite funny, actually. And so here, the next one is, these are this article, Dragon's Egg, is by Jan Beaver. Jan Beaver writes for us on a quarterly basis, and she is from Canada, and she is an Indigenous woman. She's Anishinaabe, and so she has this thing about dragons, right? And so she wrote this article. It's actually part 1. You'll see part 2 in the February issue. And so that is Jan's featured article for January. And then we have our resident animal communicator, Leslie Serenesi, and she writes under the section Communicating with Sacred Animals for us. And so she wrote about a conversation that she had with a bald eagle. Now, I'm not going to tell you what she wrote about, but it is an article that you need to read, because that bald eagle had some things to say about us humans. So that's all I'm saying. It's a great article. And the next one is by Tony Charette. Now, Tony Charette writes for us every other month under the section Sacred Masculine. And Tony is Anishinaabe, Native American man from Michigan. And so he and I kind of joke around because we're right around the same age. And so, growing up in the 70s and being Native American, there were certain things we'd say about Native Americans. And so he kind of gets it, and so do I. But anyway, in this particular article, it is a really good article about mentoring. And Tony shares one of his early experiences with his first mentor. And it's a good one. And things that lasted through his entire life that this first mentor taught him. And so it's a good read. And the next one by Julie Hedges. The Tarot Journey to the Stars is the name of her column in the Star Nations magazine, because she takes in both the tarot and astrology. So every month she gives us the reading for the tarot and also the astrology. So it's a complete story. You get both ancient languages in one article. And she does a fantastic job about that. And So Julie Hedges, Brave New Year. Now, if you have a moment to read this article, it would be really helpful because she explains a lot about what this 2018 is all about, and some of the things that were still happening in 2017 that affect us in January. So it's a great read. She does such a good job. And let me tell you, if you need an astrology reading, and I try to do one every year for myself, Julie does a really good job. I just love getting my readings from her. Very thorough, very comprehensive, and she really takes care of you when you do it, because it's a very personal thing, and and she knows that and takes really good care of you. So that is, I believe that's the ones that are on the cover. Whoops, I missed one. How could I do that to myself, no less? When I talked to the Star Nations Radio Network closed group part of our community, I think that was in December, I asked about the kinds of things that they wanted, topics that they wanted us to cover, both on the radio, as in a show, and also in the magazine. And one of the items was animal totems. And so I wrote this article. It's a very basic article about animal totems and how I view animal totems differently from power animals. And so, and I just loved that picture I found with the two wolves, because that happens to be two power animals who walk with me. Now the totems, totally different. So anyway, read the article. It's really very basic information for you. How could I forget myself on that? Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. And I included this one too. I'm going to give you the solo here, Sharon. Brunch Anyone. And this is Sharon's first article as a monthly contributor, and that is a picture of her kitchen. Her kitchen. Isn't it beautiful? And so this is where she does all of her magic, her alchemy with food, and how she nourishes her family, their bodies, and also hers. And let me tell you, her article about brunch and where it all got started and how it affects our lives on the weekends, and gives us a really great recipe for that gluten-free scone. So there you go. I love that kitchen. Love that kitchen. Beautiful. Can't wait to see it in person one day. Drive over on the other side of the state, because Sharon is here in Wisconsin, on the eastern side of the state. So she's complete opposite side of the state than I am. I think it's like 3 hours difference or 3.5 hours different drive from one side of the state to the other. So we've got some good changes coming up at Star Nations, but we also have the consistency of how we actually started this whole thing. And that is that we are dedicated to the world as one. In fact, I'm going to read it to you because I think it's so good. It says, we are still dedicated to the world as one universal community. Star Nations recognizes the sacred connections between all people and our relationship to spirit. Star Nations remains your bridge between ancient and modern spiritual information. That still remains. It's still the same. And that's what I mean about consistency. And that's why it makes it easier to stabilize after a huge change, to be able to stabilize it, because we had a good foundation. We still have a good foundation. So good that we can start adding some of those new things. So to wrap things up a bit, next week on Star Nations Radio, on Star Nations Radio Network, Communications from Home, I am looking at contacting 1 or 3 people to be able to be on my show next week. I want to get some of the new writers on so that you can meet them and talk about their background and maybe get some of the backstory to their writings. And so I don't know which one is going to be available. I'm going to contact them and we'll find out. So it's either going to be Eddie Mullins, Patricia Herdia, or my good friend Sharon Rosenblum, so that we can talk about their contributions as writers to the Star Nations magazine. And also coming up is a very special show on Sunday, January 21st. I'm going to start getting the promotions out for that. My guest will be Mervyn Kelly from London, England. We have something in common. Well, actually more than one thing, but one major thing that Mervyn and I have in common, and is that we are both the primary caregiver for our elderly mothers. And so we were talking one afternoon and I said, this would make a great show to share this kind of information. And so that's what we're going to do. January 21st is a special show about caregivers of elderly parents. And it's going to be at 2 p.m. on Sunday, January 21st. And that's 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay. And I'll get the promotions out for that, hopefully by the weekend. So, or sooner. You never know. Sometimes I can't sleep, so I'll sit up and create a promotion. So with that, I appreciate you joining me tonight. And you know what? I actually am very thankful and appreciative that you allow us at Star Nations into your homes, into your lives, and that we are here to be able to be of service to you with the information that we have in our shows, to be able to help you on your earth walk, on your spiritual journey here. And that brings me a lot of happiness, a lot of joy. And I said one time, a long time ago, that I wasn't going to do anything if it didn't bring me joy. And this still does. And I'm glad for that. I really am. So with that, I'll see you next week back here at Star Nations Communications from Home, and have a really good rest of the evening and the rest of the week. And thank you for joining us. I'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.